Welcome, Husker fans. Thank you for tuning in to Big Red Radio, Husker Talk Show. I am your host, Caleb Generett. Next to me, as always, is my co-host, Zach Generett. Today, we are going to be looking at a little stock up or down on a few positions based on these 2 weeks that we've seen from Nebraska so far. We do reserve the right to change our mind. We do think some of these positions are going to get better, maybe some even get worse. But before we get into that, make sure that you follow all the socials down below, subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment down below what position you are most impressed with so far that you were not expecting to be so impressed with before the year started. So we're also going to predict the Houston Christian game. But obviously, I don't think it's big enough of a game to really dive into everything. So we're going to try something a little bit different. Before we get started, Zach, how you doing?
Good. Obviously, huge win. One that you don't see a whole lot of recently out of the Huskers. A chance to another one this week. Essentially, Michigan week 1 of 2. I saw a
Right.
podcast that out. Obviously, they don't look as good as advertised, but then again, Michigan's always a heck of a team. So, but yeah, I think we're off on the right foot. I think it's definitely the start to the year that if you want to have a really big year, this is the start you kind of have to have.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. So I was at last game and it was crazy. Before this year, I had never watched Nebraska win a football game in person. So then watching them win in Kansas City against Cincinnati and then watching them with their most dominant win in a long time was really fun. And especially the Akron game, the night game, you got the drone show. That was awesome. The light show, everything surrounding it. The team played the entire game. We left a little early. Our son was about to fall asleep in the stands. So we decided it was time to head back to the car and get him home. But it was a great game to watch, great game all throughout. Starters looked great, backups looked great. I think that was the most impressive part, was how good the backups looked. And we learned that, Matt Rule made it a thing. He wanted the backups to keep it going, keep the shutout. And that was impressive to watch. But getting into our stocks, stock up, stock down, this is based on, where we thought they would be in the preseason to where we think they are now, what we have seen so far. So our perceptions on how they could differ based on what we thought, preseason. So we both have the positions, but I'm just going to ask Zach first for everyone. The first one that I want to talk about is one that I think we're going to agree on. So we'll just start with an easy one, the receivers. What do you think about the receivers so far? Stock up or stock down? Or stock
Yeah,
neutral?
yeah. So I think it's stock up, but not by much. That's not to say that the receivers are doing a bad job. It's mostly just that you saw what Ja'Cory Barney could do last year. We saw in the offseason what his training looked like, how much bigger he looked, how much better he looked. We obviously knew what Dane Key was. And Isaiah Hunter was a little bit of a question, but we all knew his potential. Really, they're living up to that potential. Only reason I would go stock up is because I feel like with the receivers, you got their tight ends in there, and I feel like Luke Lindenmeyer's stock is heavily up as far as receiving. And I do think Isaiah Hunter's stock is a little bit up just because there's always a question of he hasn't really played a whole lot. But like Dane Key is definitely like stock neutral, right? Some may even say like stock down, but I just feel like he hasn't really been targeted as much as he will in the future. And obviously Ja'Cory Barney is probably pretty neutral. But like I said, not to say they're doing a bad job. It's just we kind of knew what we were getting coming into this season with that group.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely stock up. And I think it's mainly because I'm getting exactly what I expected from Dane Key, exactly what I expected from Ja'Cory Barney so far. But Isaiah Hunter has been, I don't want to say a major surprise because obviously, like you said, we knew his physical tools. We knew he could be really good, and he has been. He's been our best receiver so far, in my opinion. Him and Ja'Cory have been pretty close, and Dane Key right there as well has been really good too. And then when you throw tight ends in there, I don't even want to say that it's stocked down because Carter Nelson and Heinrich Haarberg, I don't want to call them a disappointment, but they just haven't been as much of a factor as I thought they were going to be. But then you
Yeah,
also
but
throw in Luke Lindenmeyer, who's been way
right.
more of a factor than I could have ever thought.
Well, like also, I mean, Carter Nelson really hasn't seen the field a ton. We all knew Heinrich wasn't going to come out and burn defenders by any means, right? He's more in there to be a gadget player. We haven't really ran any gadget plays because you really don't want to run those against Akron and Houston Christian and Cincinnati because those are obviously plays that once you put them on film, like they're pretty easy to spot coming out. Like you usually come out in a weird formation, you usually come out in a little different. Like they're easy to spot, and so you don't want to give away what's going to happen. And so I don't think we've ran like the Heinrich Haarberg yet, and I think Carter Nelson's just getting his spot in there with Janiron Bonner being out. And so I think, yeah, I mean, I think tight ends is those two are about neutral, maybe a little down, but that Luke Lindenmeyer, like you said, the stock on that is very high up.
Yeah. So both of us agree, both up on receivers. Next one, I don't think, well, I know we're not both going to be up on it. But I'm curious on how you feel about it. So next one is D-line. We'll go with the defensive line.
Yeah, I think it's fairly neutral. I think coming into this year, you obviously know you lose two great D linemen in Nash Hutmacher and Ty Robinson, and also the guys you're bringing in. I guess you also lose James Williams, and then you lose like Prince Will as well, although he wasn't really on the D line. But the guys that you bring in, right? You obviously bring in, Williams and Warney. But outside of that, like yes, Riley Van Poppel's very good, Cam Linhart's very good, but they haven't been like proven as much as these other guys. And so going in, it was a massive question mark, and it hasn't been like bad per se, right? Like if you compare it to last year, yes, it's bad, but overall, it's very average. It's very average D line, maybe a little bit below average, but we kind of knew that we weren't going to get something spectacular coming in, and so I would say it's stock neutral, maybe a little down.
Yeah, I'm definitely down. I'm not super down. I'm getting pretty much what I expected from a lot of the D line. You've seen flashes from Winery, you've seen flashes from other positions across the board. Obviously, Cade Petrak that we've seen recently has been really flashing and really showing, especially with the safety against Akron. I don't want to single out a certain player, but I expected more from Riley Van Poppel at this point. He's not a starter. I know he plays a lot, and he plays just as much as anybody. But when I saw him get the single digit, I was like, okay, like this is our guy. He's going to be a force in the middle. He's going to be able to move around. He's going to be able to get after the quarterback. And it just hasn't really panned out yet. I think he can. I think he's very talented. I just think he needs to put it all together. And yeah, our D-line hasn't been dominant by any means. It's been good enough. And against Akron, there was times where the running backs were, I think on first downs this year, running backs are getting close to 4 yards a carry against Nebraska. So not great. Other than that, it's been really good. Obviously holding Akron to, I think, 1 for 14 on third down. I think in passing situations, our D-line is very good and gets after the quarterback and helps out the defensive backs, which we'll talk about soon as well. But just overall, I think I want to see a little bit more. I expect to see a little bit more. I expect this young team to get better as the year goes on. I just expected a little more right out of the gate.
Yeah, agreed.
So next, as I mentioned, we're going to talk about the defensive backs. What do you think about the defensive backs?
Yeah, this one's definitely stock up. Probably the biggest rise, I guess, in the stock that we've seen from preseason to now. After the first game, a lot of people chalked up us holding Cincinnati to 79. I think it was 79 yards passing.
60-something, I think, 65.
Okay. Regardless, a lot of people chalked that up as like hey, it's Cincinnati, it's a bad passing team. Well, Cincinnati, I know they didn't play a super great opponent, but threw for over 300 yards,
Yeah.
I believe, last week. And so obviously this is a team that can throw the ball. The biggest reason it's stock up is because this was a lot like the D line. Massive question mark coming in, a lot of young guys, a lot of unproven guys, and they have been, locked down through the first 2 weeks. Like I said, obviously haven't played the greatest opponents, but Akron maybe won't show us that they're a great passing team, but Cincinnati has now shown us that they have the ability to throw the ball, and so to hold them, under 80 yards for sure is incredible.
Yeah, no, this is an easy stock up for me. My biggest stock up because I expected, the receivers to be good. I expected some other positions that we're going to talk about to be good as well. Not that I didn't expect the defensive backs to be good. I just didn't expect them to be one of the top 2 units on the team, and they have been phenomenal. As you said, locked up Cincinnati, which I kind of chalked up as well. Like Storsby, I didn't really believe in him a lot. He had NFL guys looking at him, but I just didn't fall into that. I didn't think it was. I thought our defensive backs played well. I wasn't like we just locked down a really good team. And then I saw, you don't just throw for over 300 yards against anybody. Like Dylan Raiola threw for over 300 yards against Akron, which is a MAC team. Cincinnati played a better MAC team and threw for over 300 yards. They also obviously allowed more points than Nebraska did, but not to mention, it's just, I think we underrated Cincinnati. Obviously, we locked down Akron. Akron is the worst. I don't really know about Houston Christian, but Akron is one of the 2 worst receiving cores we'll see all year. So I'm not really putting any stock in that, but they still just locked him down. They just fly across the field. Even the depth. Guys like Jameer Khan played the most snaps of any of the DBs this past game, and he looked good. They're just physical. I like how physical they are. And yes, you get some of the flags, you get some of the pass interferences, but you live with that because they're just so physical and they're not letting these receivers get open. And John Butler mentioned they're playing an NFL-like defense where he doesn't really look at yards. He looks at explosives, and they're not letting explosive plays happen. They haven't let a single explosive pass play happen all year. And I don't want to get ahead of myself, but looking at Michigan, I don't think Michigan's receivers are better than what Cincinnati has. So I'm very excited to see what Nebraska can do, down the road, but definitely a big stock up for me. Next
Yep.
one is the 4th one, and it's another polarizing one. It's the running backs. I'm curious to see what you think about the running backs.
Yeah, I would say after watching the Akron game, because we really don't have much to go on, right? Like, yes, we have a ton to go on Emmett Johnson, but outside of him, like, we really only have the Akron game. After the Akron game, I would say stock up. Mostly, I'm cutting Emmett Johnson completely out of it. I didn't know he was going to do this well, but I had a really good feeling he was going to do well. Once you start looking at Mosey back there and watching him run, and you start watching Quentin Ives run, I mean, it looks like if we get down in the stretch in games like Michigan, Minnesota, Iowa, USC, and we need to pull Emmett Johnson out, that we do have backs behind him that can go make plays. Are they going to do what he can do? Absolutely not, right? Or else they would be in there more. But they can also come in and play at a high level as well. So I think stock up for me.
Yeah, so I am at stock neutral. I'm definitely higher on Emmett than I was in the preseason. He's looked every bit like a 3-down guy that you can truly count on. What I worry about is the depth, and I know you said that you can count on the backups to hold it down. I'm almost there. I agree with you that I can count on them to make plays. I don't know if I can count on them to be like a reliable guy. Say, obviously we don't want this to happen. Say Emmett goes down with an injury. I think that's a huge loss. I don't think we have a guy that can just fill in that role. And I kind of expected there to be one. Obviously, I didn't expect them to reach what Emmett can be, but I also didn't expect it to be as big of a drop off as I think it will be. So I think they'll get better. We're working with 2 freshmen. and Quentin Ives, who's coming back from an injury, who's more a physical guy who looked good against Akron, but definitely not as explosive as Nelson or Mosey. Um, so I think overall I'm neutral, just because I'm higher on Emmett. I'm also lower on the depth. So I think hopefully after the Michigan game, after Michigan State, I'm going to be overall higher on all of them. And then the final one, it's the final one, right? We've done four because we've done
Correct.
receivers, DBs, O line. Oh, we haven't done O line, D line. And so next one is O line. That is our final one. What do you think about the O line?
Yeah, I'm gonna say stock up. I think coming in, O line for a lot of people wasn't a question mark, but for me it was. Yeah, you bring in a guy like Elijah Pritchett, who's obviously very, very talented, but has some, dumb mistakes that hold him back. Um, Turner Corcoran obviously has, not been a liability with us, but has made, valuable mistakes. Teddy Prohaska, injured for his entire college career. We've never really seen him play. Gunnar Gatula, obviously a very good lineman, but like all these guys, right, have never really played together. It's a very big question mark, and again, we haven't really seen a ton of film on these guys, like good film. But I mean, Cincinnati, you know, they played against probably one of the best like individual D linemen that we're going to see all year, if not the best individual D
Right.
lineman that we're going to see all year. And everyone coming up to the game was like, "Man, this guy he could wreck your entire game. He can wreck an entire drive." And did he wreck a couple plays? Sure, that's what he does. But he never once wrecked a drive like we saw, Ty Robinson and Nash Hutmacher do in like the Colorado game last year, or the Rutgers game last year, right? Like we watched what can happen when you let D linemen wreck a game because we had two guys that could do it last year. This guy couldn't do it in the Cincinnati game. Obviously, Emmett Johnson isn't back there like Barry Sanders running behind one of the worst O lines and making every single guy miss to get these yards. He's running through big holes. He's running through open lanes. This O line is a big reason why a lot of our offense is doing so well. And so I would say definitely stock up.
So I'm going to slightly disagree with you. I'm going to go slightly stock down because I think the interior guys are exactly what I thought they were going to be. They've been good. They've held up. They've made holes for the running game. The outside guys, Teddy Prohaska has been fine. Not exactly. He's been what I expected. He's been inconsistent. He's coming back from an injury. I think he'll get better as the year goes on. Left tackle is where, it's less than what I thought. Because I thought Elijah Pritchett's going to win this job and he's going to be a staple there. Like he's going to be good. He's going to provide some really high level left tackle play. And obviously Pritchett's not the guy. Not saying he can't be, but right now he's not. And Gunnar Gatula's in there and he's been fine. He's been a little inconsistent. I think if you watch the Akron game, Dylan is avoiding pressure a little more than he should be against Akron. Now they can blitz and they blitzed and got some pressure that way, but it's just little inconsistencies here and there, and I expected it to be more solidified at this point. And not that it can't get there. Even if Elijah Pritchett doesn't win the job, I think Gunnar Gatula can do just a fine job there. But I just expected it to be more of a strength than it is now. So they're slightly stocked down for me. Now I do want to rapid fire through some quick ones that didn't make the top five just because I think the top five that we had, you have a lot more to talk about. So quarterback, I'm stock up. I expected him to be good. I expected him to be this. I expected him to be really good with Dana Holgerson. I didn't expect him to be, as smooth, making the checks at the line of scrimmage, as high level as he is pre-snap. What do you think?
Yeah, agreed. Stock up. Expect him to be good, but he's playing at a high level that, for a sophomore, a lot of people, like if you ask Ohio State and Georgia and in Texas and a lot of these places, like, hey, now would you want Raiola? Because that was the big question last year is, oh man, like these Ohio State fans, like maybe we didn't want Raiola. You want him now? It's like absolutely right. Like I think every team that he was originally committed to, so Ohio State and Georgia, are better off with him right now than they currently are, personally.
Yeah, I think it'd be tough for Ohio State fans to admit that, but I think at this point, Dylan Raiola is better than Julian Sayin. Um,
Right. I mean, because realistic, what Julian's saying just has to like steer the ship, right? Like he doesn't have to do anything crazy. He's Will Howard steer the ship. Raiola can go in there and actually like make plays. Like he
yeah,
can make his own plays on top of their other plays. Like, yeah, I think I agree. It would be hard for him to admit it, but yeah, I think they would rather have him.
yeah. And then another quick one. Which ones do we not talk about? Linebacker. Linebacker. I am slightly. I think I'm neutral on linebackers. They're pretty much what I expected it to be. Maybe a
Yeah.
little bit. I expected a little bit more from Marquise Watson Trent, but I also am getting a lot more from guys like Vincent Shavers and Javen Wright than I thought I was going to get. With how little, not little they're playing, but Vincent Shavers I expected to play more, but he's been even better than I thought he was going to be.
Yeah, linebackers I mean neutral as well. It's not a glaring issue, right? But it's also not one where it's like gotta go, must watch TV, linebackers for Nebraska, right? It's just like, they're doing their job and they're doing what they're supposed to.
Yeah, and finally, specialists. So kicker and punter. I am I'm stock up. I'm major stock up. I think this is the second biggest stock up besides defensive backs. I didn't know we had a kicker like this. He is
Hmm.
drilling. He's just not missing, and it doesn't even look close to missing. I don't want to jinx him. He's probably going to miss one in the year, but it's just been such an issue for us that him making these consistently has been phenomenal. And then Archie, we didn't even see him last week, but in the first game, he was phenomenal as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think all of special teams, is stock up. It's been a long time since special teams hasn't been one where it's like just like we switched from hey, just try to go out there and not absolutely blow this game for us to hey, these guys might like go make a play. You talk about Ja'Cory Barney back there returning punts. I'm pretty sure like I think it was I think we were like under 100 yards receiving in like 5 seasons. I think I said it on here. Um, and then like obviously punter like Bushini was great, right? Like don't get me wrong, Bushini could boot the ball, but he wasn't really dropping any punts inside the 20. Like he was just getting rid of it. Had a couple shanks, but like you said, kicker was just atrocious. I mean, not even close. And for us to walk out there and like when we put the 52-yarder on against Cincinnati, I mean, I was like, this is a hope and a prayer.
Yeah,
Uh, at this point, like this looks like Georgia Southern, like all over again, right? It's like you just have to,
right.
you're gonna make it, but you have to, and then he drills it, absolutely drills it. Um, Obviously, he's drilled every other field goal we've kicked since then, and now you've got to the point where it's like, hey, it's no longer special teams go out there and do their job. Like, hey, special teams might go out there and like make some big impact now. So yeah, absolutely, I would almost go as say is. And I said it before the season, right? Like this special teams unit might be the like best like overall unit on this team. Now D backs obviously have came out and probably taken that crown so far, but like, overall, like as far as like what we expect them to be, like this special teams unit might be the best unit out there.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so now we are going to get to our predictions for the game Saturday against Houston Christian. There is no lines out. I don't think there will be lines out until Saturday morning, is what I've been told. So who knows? I know there
I
was
think
some.
Nebraska was a 35.5 point favorite.
I think that's what it was against Akron, but I don't think a line is out yet for Nebraska versus Houston Christian. Usually, FCS lines don't come out. FBS versus FCS lines don't come out until um, like the morning of the game. So uh, I did see something that said if Akron and Houston Christian played, Akron would be a 13.5 point favorite. So that's pretty telling on what we're facing. It's an FCS team, but it's not a good FCS team. They've got some talent. I don't really know exactly where they have talent. I know their running game is okay. I know their kicker actually used to play for Nebraska. Fun fact. Um, but yeah, nothing crazy. This shouldn't be a game. It should look a lot like Akron. Starters shouldn't play much. They should maybe play first half, maybe a little into the third quarter, maybe even less than that, depending on how dominant it truly looks. Just stay healthy and really go out there and get the job done. I think they do score. Shutting two teams out in a row is hard, especially when Nebraska hasn't done it in a long time. So maybe they get a field goal. I don't think they get any more than that. I'm saying, like, I mean, after last week, it's tough to do anything less than 60. But I'm going to say like 50, 55-3, I think is the final.
Yeah, I watched an interview with Matt Rule start of this week, and he talked about how, when you play some teams like Akron, right? Like, nothing against the Akron guys as like people, but like as football players, like it's gonna come off bad, but like those guys are like losers, right? As a football team, like they know how to lose. So you look at us, like the last few years, like we get in a close game, like we knew how to lose every time. We didn't know how to win, we knew how to lose. In football games in general, like Akron knows how to lose. When they get down, they know how to make that's all they know. They make mistakes, they give up, they let the score run up. And he was talking about how these FCS teams, like a lot of them that play these Division I teams are winners. You look at like South Dakota State, North Dakota State, UNI. A lot of these really good, like back when like App State was in the FCS. Like the reason those guys win a lot of games and get a lot of upsets is because they're winners. And so if you keep them in a close game, they know how to compete and they know how to win. Then I started doing some digging on Houston Christian. Houston Christian, even at the FCS level, is not a winning football team.
Yeah.
Back in 2022, Houston Christian went 0-11. 2023, 6-5. 2024, 5-7. Right now they're 1-1. Okay. This team is bad. It is bad at football. But also at the same time, I do think it's a lot lower scoring because with Michigan coming up next week, I think he like really lets off the gas, right? Like you don't want anyone getting hurt. Like you don't even want a chance at any of your starters getting hurt. And honestly, you really don't want to even chance your backups getting hurt. And so I'm thinking 42-3, but I think at half it's like 30, like 33-0 again, right? And then the second half is just the worst football to watch. Something like that, right? And so, and I also think maybe at half it's only 27-0 at half, just because like we haven't taken deep shots, we haven't like it's like the most like vanilla, terrible, boring football to watch, but we're out there to win a football game and really move on to next week. So I think 42-3.
Yeah. Before we sign off, I just want to mention I don't think there's a single I don't expect to take anything away from this game, good or bad.
Not really.
Like,
you just don't know. We have no idea the game plan going in, right? Like,
right.
It could genuinely be to like go out there and just like it could be like to go out there and like win 10-0 if we have to, just like get out with a win. It could be to see if we can score points. Like I don't know.
Yeah, no, this is truly like there's talks that this is the worst team Nebraska has ever played.
Correct. Yeah.
Like it's really, really bad. So I don't know what to expect. I know they have some athletes. They're in Houston. They're going to find some diamonds. Maybe not diamonds, but diamonds for the level that they're at. So I don't know. If Nebraska keeps it close, I would be very disappointed. I think you can put your third stringers in and run the score up on them. So I don't know. I think, in the last point, I think Jalen Graham's dad would be the best player on their team. I'll just say that. And he's our
who by the way, is actually a very good football player. I mean, he was the player of the
I'm just saying, like he's the third best, or our third string quarterback, and I think he would be the best player on their team.
Right.
So that's all you do. I think that's all you need to know about this team. So you got anything else before signing off?
Nope.
So from now on, we will be releasing these episodes hopefully Wednesday mornings at 10. So make sure you tune in, watch all Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Bet the Mortgage comes out Friday morning as well. Make sure you follow us all on the socials down below: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. That's where you're going to get all of our extra content. Subscribe, leave a like, leave your comment down below on what your biggest surprise is going into the year through 2 weeks, position group wise. But without further ado, go Big Red.